Hey there, YouTube. Welcome on back to Artichoke Dip. I know it's been a while, and it's been a long time since I made a video. A lot has happened. Um, I'm really not going to dive into that too much. Of you know, uh, to sum it up in a nutshell, um, I just have not been motivated, and I had uh things that I had to sort out and get to the root cause of the problem of what that was. And thanks to my wife, she is just a miraculous person. She helped me realize hey, maybe this is the problem rather than maybe instead of buying a new game, maybe this is, anyways. I guess I'm not going to really delve into that too much. This is a rant video, is what this is. And it's been a long time coming, and I'm kind of sitting back. And when I saw the first video of, and I'm not going to go back through the OGL 1.1. There's so many videos out there and lawyers, spouting off about it, whatever. I think by now, um, as a matter of fact, if you enjoy gaming and you watch gaming content and you haven't heard of it yet, then I would be astounded because, I mean, for Christ's sake, if you go into the gaming section on YouTube, the top hitting videos right now are all about how Wizards of the Coast have blatantly tried to screw over, um, well, let's face it, the people who are actually making um, games and ideas and systems that people actually want to play. Um, you know, the fact is what it is. But if we wind the clocks back and we go back, and I had made a video and what it was about and what it just infuriated me was when Wizards released, they were re-releasing um, all of their older catalog of books from basic and advanced, and which is really cool to see. It really was. And for a lot of people in my age bracket that may have missed out on that opportunity to get that module, or whether it was a supplement book or what have you at the time, and they didn't want to pay the exuberant prices that they were asking for on eBay for a used book in the condition, you just really didn't know what you were going to get, if you were going to get a whole book or if you're going to get a book missing pages or what have you in it. This was an opportunity to be able to get your hands on some of these. But Wizards did something that really, um, it really put a bad taste in my mouth with the gaming industry. And that was the fact that when they came out with the disclaimer and they were saying people like me, basically, if you want to play this game, you're really a piece of crap. You're a second class citizen. You're, and these aren't their exact words, but the disclaimer kind of all summed it up. And so there were people that, cancel culture, I should say, that were all excited to see this. Right, we're going to cancel these people. We're going to get rid of these people. We're just going to get them out of here. And okay, fair enough. What that told me at the time is that Wizards, you no longer want money, right? Because why? Why didn't you want that money? Oh, because you carved out yourself a nice little piece of profit over here by chasing this thing called the cancel culture and thinking it was going to benefit you. But really, well, as a lot of companies are finding out now, it's backfiring in their faces, and it's not generating the money that they need to sustain themselves. So now they're backpedaling and they're trying to change uh, hoping on something, and when I say this, it's true, that Americans have short memories, right? That they wanted to come out and isolate us, get rid of us, but now that sales are slumping, now all of a sudden, you know, that wasn't the case, or you misinterpreted it, or what have you, and just forget about all that and come on back and just just give us more money, just give us more money. But now what we're seeing is the third party developers, right? That are up in arms, that are now leaving, that are now talking about changing their entire game rules to their own just to get away. So they can't do what their little shenanigans, what they tried, and by saying, hey, give us money, give us your money from your ideas that you came up with and you worked on, and over the years of the processes that you went through to come up with these to be until it was published. But not only that we want all your ideas and we're going to use them or cancel them any way that we see fit. And now all these people are trying to rally the gaming community together and say, come on, we all need to come together and we all need to fight against this big evil corporate entity known as Wizards of the Coast. And, well, I just have one question before going any further into this video. And if any third-party publisher is watching this, I just have one question. In your cognitive thinking, at what point did you think you were exempt and or safe in that you yourself would not be canceled? And if you can't come up with a good answer, which I think the vast majority of people wouldn't, because why would they, right? Well, now you understand where we are at, how we felt, how basically we were told to go away while, you guys were still putting out great content. And I'm going to mention a couple of game manufacturers here that I really do enjoy, that they don't do the whole cancel culture thing. They actually do come out with great gaming worlds. They actually do bring products to your table that you're actually going to want to play, that isn't just steeped in this cesspool of political ideologies. And that is Castles and Crusades, for one. Love it. I love the setup of it. It's the fact that it plays like basic edition D&D, but it's more so at 3rd edition speed, and they have a siege system built into it that helps take a lot of confusion of what used to be used in basic saving throws out, and just makes it a far more comprehensive system to use, whether you're playing solitaire or you're playing in a large group. Another one is Swords and Wizardry, which I use a lot. I like it. I really do like it. So far, everything I have seen published by Fraud God Games, I have really, really liked. I'm not going to say I like their entire catalog and everything that they've ever done, because that's not true. But for the mass, I'm going to say for the most part, everything that they have done I really like, and that's why I own the book and I have it, is for that reason. But now we see this corporate giant, if you will, right? Now the veil has finally come down. Now everybody has finally seen what it really is and what it's really after. And it has nothing to do with supporting the, I'm going to say, niche community, because let's face it, I don't care what kind of gamer you are. I don't care how you identify or whatever. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Gaming isn't about politics. Gaming is not about any of that. Gaming is about being able to take a break from everyday life, right? Take a break from all the stresses and be able to take time and sit down and indulge in a fantasy world, whether that fantasy world may be, a world involved in magic and ancient dragons and stuff like that. Like a good example would be um, Middle Earth. Another example would be, unless it's high fantasy. It really doesn't matter. It really, at the end of the day, it does not freaking matter. Everybody has been interested and drawn to gaming for one reason and or another for what they enjoy. And the last thing anybody wants is to have a political corporate overlord over them telling them how they should spend their money, how they should think, what other companies should do, and off of the blood, sweat, and tears of these other creators and publishers, why they should be paying basically royalties back to Wizards of the Coast, and uh, essentially have all of their intellectual property held hostage by them and either canceled, butchered, and whatever else they're going to do to it. Because let's face it, I have to ask you an honest to God question. Honest to God question. Over the last year, what has Wizards of the Coast honestly released that you have seen that you have been like, this is cool? I want to play this, and I want to tell my friends about this, and I want to get everybody around the table and play this. Or has it been like, oh, yeah, great, you reprinted another supplement that has been around since AD&D, and probably what you have done to it is you've taken 75% of the original out and gutted it and threw it away and just put total garbage in its place that I'm not going to be interested in. I don't want anything to do with it, so I'm not going to give you my money. It's bottom line. And don't get me wrong, I tried. I really tried. I tried to reconnect with 5th edition. Um, I liked the fact that 5th edition was a compilation of people of all ages across the internet, fans of various different editions that all came together and put in their input, and they looked at it and said, hey, this would be a good edition. This is going to be um, the most comprehensive edition yet, which was a good idea. The thing I didn't like about it was the fact that D&D has always been, when you make your character, you're going into a dangerous, unknown world full of uncertainty and possibly certain death. So you have to really think very closely about your consequences and what your character and or characters are going to do, because it could be, that's it, that's the end of that adventure scenario, because they are all now wiped out and you have to start new, or you just have to figure out how to bring a new character into the storyline and figure out how you want to do that, to what we have now, to where your character is almost next to impossible to kill. And why is this? Why don't I like it? Why don't I engage with that? Well, this is the way I kind of view it. It's not the way I kind of view it, it is the way I view it. And let's look at the old Nintendo Entertainment System, right? We had all sorts of games, and as you went through them games, you would get to them challenges to where you could spend hours, if not day after day trying to get past that one boss to get to the next level. And once you did, you had that sense of accomplishment. You felt good. You felt like you have mastered the game, and you also had the bragging rights to be able to say, I defeated that boss. I got past it. This is what it was. I did it. But then something came along that changed it, and not for the good either. In my opinion, it made it um, less fun, less engaging, and that was when you get the books of the cheat code. So then they would come out with a paperback book like that, like a novel, and you go through it and find your game, and it would have all these cheat codes, and you just put the cheat code in, and you had unlimited everything, and you could run through any level you wanted, and you couldn't die. So it took that challenge out of it. It took away the reason that brought you back to that game in the first place, and it was that sense of challenge, that sense of wanting to put forth that amount of time, and knowing once you did, was your accomplishment and the bragging rights you had afterwards. So I viewed fifth edition as, kind of that's the way it was. D&D with cheat codes built into it, and well, essentially it was next to impossible for my character to die, and I didn't like that. So then I saw they had released the starter set, and they came out with a whole new one, and I thought, okay, let's give it one more shot. Let's just roll through it, because I had picked up Spelljammer, and I had read through Spelljammer, and I saw some ideas I really liked out of Spelljammer, but for most part, I thought Spelljammer was just, in my opinion, there was not a whole lot of creativity. It was almost seemed like it was pushed through the editing process too damn fast, just to get it out by its release date. And then even when it was released, there was something in there that, Lord behold, somebody found offensive. Oh my god, I can't deal with this, And so they had to go through and rewrite it again, and then they said, hey, this original one we're discontinuing, and we're coming out with this whole new one. And so when that was happening, I had picked up the starter set, and I was trying to go through the module in it, and I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. So you're telling me I'm on this island with these orcs, and these orcs are these sentient beings that are just full of love and light, and they all work together, and they all do this, and I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, who writes this stuff? Who comes up with their ideas? I mean, do they sit in a think tank all day smoking crack and thinking, hey, this would be a good idea? And maybe they do, I don't know. But I just could not grapple with it. I mentally could not wrap my mind around it. And I couldn't help but just keep going back to what Tolkien said and the way he explained what a damn orc is. It's evil. It's just pure evil. Okay? It's evil. And if you're one of these, we'll say good people that wander throughout Middle Earth, just trying to go through your day and, you know, make a living for yourself and take care of your family and, maybe be a good citizen in your community, guess what? It wants to kill you. So, I kind of had a hard time being like, okay, so my character's supposed to go in here and make nice and be like, and I was like, oh, heck no. And that was it. I couldn't go any further. It was just, in my opinion, it was garbage is all it was. And I was done with D&D. So I started looking for other games to try to pique my interest, and I got into wargaming and started doing some wargaming and started playing Memoir 44 and Flight Leader and other systems out there for a while, but then um, I always had this, we'll say, emptiness, right, in my gaming taste that wasn't there. And there were other systems out there that really helped fill that void. Forbidden Lands, The One Ring, Castles and Crusades, Swords and Wizardry. Palladium Fantasy is another one. That's an excellent one out there. Um, for those of you that are looking for an old school, we'll say RPG system that has not changed over the years, that uh, you know, had, that's a good one to check out. It really is. So I had uh, really just kind of given up on expecting to see anything good out of gaming for a while. Thinking, okay, we hit the plateau. We hit the plateau. Kickstarter came out, and when Kickstarter was new, and all these fresh ideas were coming out, and they're being introduced and thrown out of the gaming world. And but then we hit a plateau, and we got to a point to where people were overproducing. So now you have retro clones of retro clones of a retro clone coming out. And I had mentioned this in my other videos and said, literally, how many retro clones of basic D&D do you honestly need, and can you play? I mean, literally, they're just changing a few words, or maybe they're going in there, instead of using, we'll say, intelligence just to make it their own, they'll put in perception instead of the 6 stats, and that's supposed to make it an entirely brand new, different game from everything else, and so much better. But at the end of the day, it's the same game. And you come to the question, well, why not just play the original game? If I have the original game, why play this retro clone that just kind of, it is the same game, it's slimmed down, but it's just different, and it really doesn't give me any more entertainment value than what I already have. So that was one of the things that did it for me for a while, and it was other factors that were going into that. But anyways, so when I had seen that first video of the OGL 1.1 and the community meltdown and everything else, like I said, I had just had to laugh. I'm like, so now you guys are being canceled, but what public outcry was there for us when we were being canceled? There was none. It was just like, well, hey, oh well. But and now, the way I'm looking at it with this, it's like, so why should I be so overly concerned? What can you say to change my mind as to why I should jump on board on your bandwagon, right? Because it's affecting your bottom line. It's affecting everything you do. But yet, when creators like me and other ones out there were speaking about this and just getting so much, backlash, that we didn't understand, and we're like, you're damn right we don't understand. What's there to understand? I mean, and trying to explain to these people, hey, back in the 90s when you guys were almost damn near belly up, the only thing that was supporting your industry was us, because it wasn't in the public eye like it is now. You didn't have Critical Role out there releasing videos and bringing in millions of views. You didn't have Stranger Things that really kicked your name into higher gear. You didn't have any of these things. As a matter of fact, it was, you would go into a bookstore and you would have books, magazines, whatever, and then you would have this small little area that was typically all the way in the back of the store that you couldn't see from the front, and it would be out of plain sight view, so you'd really have to look for it, and then that's where you would find your D&D. So people like us that had supported it through those years, we get to this, and then we find other publishers, right? Other publishers that really publish stuff that we really want to play, we really want to engage with, we really enjoy, and we have left. We have moved on, and we said, hey, fine, you want to cancel us? Okay, well, the way what I'm listening to, what my ears are hearing right now is you do not want money, Wizards of the Coast. You don't want it. So, hey, no problem. You're not getting any more. That's it. You're cut off. And this is where we are at. So for all these people out there that are trying to wave the flag like, hey, we all got to get together, we all got to do this, we got to do this, well, you're going to have to realize something. A lot of people already have. They're already gone. They don't care. Others didn't care when they canceled, so why should we get behind what you got going on? And at the end of the day, something else I want to throw in there, if you think Wizards of the Coast is done, if you think you have won something, if you think that you can at this point have the victory cries of the battle, you're wrong. You are, severely wrong, particularly if you are a smaller publisher, third-party publisher that's, using off their open game licensing. I can almost guarantee you their legal department right now is looking at this and saying, okay, how do we go about it a different way? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the way we're looking at it, yeah, we released the open game licensing. Yeah, you were allowed to use the likeliness of this and do this and do that, do that. But now we are in economic downturn. People aren't spending the money like they used to. And we have to have that money, and we have to hit our profit goals. So now at this point, we're just going to go after the third-party publishers. We're going to shake them down, and we're just going to take what they have for us. Because at the end of the day, it's all about us and making those record profits, because that's what we're really interested in, and we're not interested in anything else. And I don't care what anybody says. You could try to convince me differently, but when it comes down to a corporation, ultimately at the end of the day, they don't view people as people. They don't view their customers as people. They're all numbers, and they're looking at their number, which is their profit margin, and they want to see their profit margin at a record level, and then the following year after that, they want to see another record level that's twice as large as that, and just perpetually keep going. Basically, what does Wizards of the Coast want? Do they want a small chunk of the market share? No, they want all the market share. And so this is what I'm putting out there for people to think about. So your rally cries have been heard. You went to Wizards, and now Wizards is trying to backpedal and say, hey, let's all be friends, and let's do this, and let's do that, and we're really sorry, and we really appreciate you. Okay, well, if that's the case, then they have never extended an olive branch to the older gamers who enjoyed their older editions. Not once. Not once was there a consideration. So basically, this is a how do we put this? Yeah, we tried to fillet you like a fish this time, and it didn't work right. So what we're going to do is let's all be friends. And while we think of another inventive legal way, just keep using this open game license. Keep coming up with your ideas. We really like them. And keep publishing them, put them out there, because ultimately we're going to take it for ourselves. And then we're just going to do what the Wizards of the Coast has done edition after edition, and that is We're going to take it, we're going to dissect it, we're going to destroy it, and we're just going to run it into the freaking ground. And we're going to try to prop it up to the public that it is the best thing since sliced bread, when even we know in the back of our minds it's a piece of crap. So the question is, and like I'm sure a lot of third-party publishers are already doing this, they're changing the rule sets, they're getting away from it, they're abandoning them. And this is good to see. It has to happen. It should have happened long before now. And for those of you that may be watching this and you don't understand what's going on, I mean, just look at what happened with the Dragonlance franchise and what that fight was all about. And the reason why Tracy Hickman pulled the plug on it, because of the fact that they wanted him to go in there and change his entire creative process, story, and everything to fit a political, ideological idea that didn't align with him and had nothing to do with his work. But they wanted it anyways because they thought this is going to generate more profit. And what did it do? Well, I think the vast majority of people were like, no. And so, gone, right? Another good one is Ravenloft. When I heard that they said what was one of the things they came out with is one of your players feels scared around the board. They're supposed to hold up this little sign and you're supposed to stop and everybody's supposed to coddle them and tell them it's okay and blah, 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 blah. No, it's Ravenloft. Do you not understand that? It's a game system of horror. It's a game system of your worst freaking nightmare come true, because there is this evil freaking demonic force that is running this realm that is not part of the normal realm. As a matter of fact, it's overseen by many driving forces of evil that are there to torment and torture the inhabitants of this world. So why are we going to change it to where these evil forces are all of a sudden going to be like, oh, hey, let's all sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya, It just, so, and I think I speak for a lot of people out there when they saw these changes, they're like, I'm out. And then they have left, and other third-party publishers have, basically picked up the slack, where Wizards of the Coast they couldn't cut the mustard. They couldn't, make something that's worth a damn that people actually want to play anymore. And that's the fact. I mean, there's other factors that go into this. If you look at just in America, I'm talking about, so depending on where you're watching this, right now, currently in America, we have 43% of our workforce more capable of working that don't want to work because it's easier to just get a free handout from the government. And now that all these little government handouts are starting to dry up and go away, things are getting harder for them, and they're not spending the money like they used to through Wizards of the Coast, or now that all restrictions are gone and people can go back to what they call a normal life now. It was like the flavor of the month. D&D was there when they needed it, but now that they went back to whatever they're doing, they don't even engage with it or think about it anymore. And you see this all the time. Once the restrictions were over, there was people out there selling their entire game collections. They're like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. I'm out. It was just a fad at the time, and now it's over, and pretty much I got the t-shirt to prove it. So they're feeling the financial losses of that as well. But on top of that, I think they're also feeling the financial losses of, well, the people that used to buy all our products and look forward to, product releasements, buying pre-orders and all of that, well, we chased them all off. Well, where did they go? Well, they went to other game systems out there. Well, why did they do that? Well, because of us. Anyway, I am sitting back right now and I am seeing all this unfold, and I am laughing in amusement because it's at this point that you can only say one thing that comes to mind, that comes to my mind, and that is, Wizards, we told you so. And the interesting thing to see when this moves forward is how D&D is all going to go electronic, and everything is going to be a pay to play type of platform, to all the way from minis that you're going to have to purchase. So instead of like buying a real physical miniature for the game board, now you're going to buy an electronic one that's going to be on their server, but you're going to have to spend real money. And if you want to upgrade, it's going to cost you more money. And whatever you want to do, it's going to cost you more money. And it's going to be interesting to see how they are going to compete with, how do I say this? I think they're going to be a very small fish in a very large pond, because you have a lot of other electronic gaming companies that are out there that have a very strong following of players. Because let's face it, when it comes to the gaming hobby, I mean, you have tabletop and then you have electronic. And tabletop has always been niche. It's been, a smaller group, I'll say, compared to electronic. And so how are you going to convince these people, right? These people that kind of have come to expect an extremely high amount of development of storylines, graphics, and everything else that they look at. Because these people look at gaming completely different than we look at gaming. We look at gaming as, what's the replayability of this? What do I get out of this? And how many times can I make a scenario out of this, that, and the other thing? Whereas of everything is scrutinized. They're looking at the graphics, and if they see something that they don't really, they perceive as, well, they took the easy way out on that. And these people are far more brutal online than the tabletop gaming group is. I will tell you that right now. And how is that really going to work out? How is it going to, let's spin another thing. So how is it going to work out when Wizards of the Coast decides that they're going to screw over the people now in the electronic world, and then they're faced with the prospect of, you have a few people that are computer hackers that decide, you know what, we're just going to hack your server and freaking crash it to where you're not going to make money because it's going to be in the gutter. That'll be a very interesting one, and I'm sure that'll be a scenario somewhere in the future that's probably going to wind up happening. I mean, if it happened to Sony Entertainment, if they were hacked, you damn well know Wizards of the Coast will be hacked as well. So how are they going to, diffuse this situation? How are they going to walk that back? There's no way you can. So we are living in very interesting times, and I take this as a bit of good news. I really do. I think there's a lot of people that may feel strongly different about what I'm saying, because maybe they are a third-party publisher and they feel as if their business is threatened. But making the decision to get away from the umbrella of Wizards of the Coast and making a rule set your own to where it is your own, and then moving forward and actually having a well foundation of fans that are going to anticipate what you release, I think is going to be far more beneficial to you in the future than what you are currently doing, for the fact that you've already seen what, Wizards is trying to do to you. But the thing I like about it the most is the fact that when I made the rant video and it seemed so insignificant and so many people said, you know, Wizards is so huge that they're a force to be reckoned with. And now what do we see? What do we see? We see declining sales figures. You see people abandoning ship. You see people leaving and they are in complete panic mode. And this is good. This is the wake up call that they needed. But I don't think they're going to rebound from it. I don't think they're going to enjoy what they had prior to this because of the fact that they have pushed so many people away. For the fact that now people have found other systems out there. They have found basically they have said, okay, D&D is like the training wheels for RPGs. After you master the training wheels, now you're ready to move off to more um, rich ideas and different game systems and components that which just kind of makes D&D irrelevant at that point. And that's the way I foresee the future moving ahead. So, you know, thing out there, I will say, like Matt Finch with Swords and Wizardry, hey, if you got, I wouldn't sweat. You have such a solid game system as it is right now that if you had to make a few minor changes to what you currently have to make it your own and move forward, I can speak for myself. Would I buy that product and put it on my shelf? Absolutely. Um, we look at Troll Lord Games and with Castles and Crusades, if they had to make special modifications within their game system, but still publish the high quality products that they do that I enjoy so much, would I buy their new stuff and put it on my shelf? Absolutely. Wizards of the Coast, if they came out and they were groveling on their knees and offering to fill up my car for free and buy a week's worth of groceries for my house just so long as I buy their main core rule book, would I? Absolutely not. No. So I am so glad to see this come full circle. I really am. I'm glad to see that the people have finally had enough. They have finally stood up. But maybe this is a good thing for the fact that it's a wake up call for so many other creators out there that you have to really cover your butt when it comes to your own intellectual property and what you do, and don't rely on another corporation to do the right thing, and to look out for your best interest, because at the end of the day, no corporation is looking out for anybody but themselves. All right, my friends, I think I've talked your ear off about this quite long enough. And looking at my counter here, it's 43 minutes worth of me talking about my little rant and watching everything come full circle. Hope you enjoyed it. And with that being said, game on, my friends. And this is Artichoke Dip, signing off.